Let's crack open a beer and share some thoughts.
Welcome to the award-winning Hopinions podcast. I had to, come on mate.
Yes, I expected nothing less, Steve.
Well, of course, which is coming to you this week, post Crimbo Crawl in Bristol from the confines of Moor's taproom.
Yep, they've kindly opened up early for us.
Yeah, very, very nice little space that we've got here to do this year's look back at what was the Crimbo Crawl. But as always, we're not alone this year. We've got our resident creative / art director, Clayton. Clayton, welcome to your annual appearance on Hopinions.
Hi, glad to be here again.
Sounds like you practiced that.
Yeah. Spent all year doing that.
Yeah. You emailed through the lines and I'm just reading them.
And we're also joined by Simon Vicky from the Beers Without Frontiers podcast. Guys,
Hello.
welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You joined us for the Crimbo Crawl yesterday as well.
Yes.
So you're gonna get involved in the chat about that, and we're gonna have a talk to you about what you're doing with Beers Without Frontiers as well. So let's get into it.
Start at the beginning, lost and grounded.
Shall we? Yeah.
How good were they?
It was a great start
Yeah.
to the day. Started out over at Lost and Grounded, over just on the outskirts of Bristol.
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. Come on. Everywhere we went, we had no idea where we were going.
That's true. But they very kindly opened up their tap room for us. I didn't realise until we left that they had actually opened it up just for us yesterday. Yeah. I thought they were having it was like a normal opening day for them, and they'd be going on and they'd be serving people, and it appeared that they actually came in for the day just to do that for us. And wow, did they look after us.
Oh, it was amazing. Well, so we had two tours of the whole facility. They split because we had so many people as well. About 40 people.
Yeah.
It's 2 tours, 20 people, and then they let us do a tasting of their beers. We did 6 of their beers.
Yeah.
I mean, that they didn't have to do all of that.
No, but we also got to listen to Alex
Yeah.
talking about his passion, and it's clear the amount of planning that's gone into that space and that brewery. And I think he was saying, were you guys on our tour or were you on?
We were on the first tour.
Yeah, we did.
we did the
first
first tour, yeah.
So Alex was saying to us that, because I said to him, I said, well, you've clearly got space to expand here, and he was like, oh yeah, all the plans are already drawn up, and we know what will go where when the time is right to increase the capacity.
It's a massive space.
Yeah.
It's a great space, and the way they've laid out the tap room with the brewery, right, all the shiny silver stuff behind it, looks really good. But yeah, I mean, you know, starting off with Keller Pils yesterday.
Yeah. So what do you think of the beers? Like I say, we tried 6 beers.
The Keller Pils was the top one for me. It was just beautiful. It was clean, crisp, refreshing, everything you want from a lager style beer, but just done really well, rather than just bland and fizzy. It's not really that fizzy either, was it?
No, but it was, like I say, it was the perfect start at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
As the first beer, and then we did it as part of the tasting. But then Alex also insisted that we did it at the end
Of the tasting.
of the tasting as well, to just show just how versatile.
Which I thought was a nice touch, actually.
Beer, yeah. It's obviously a beer that he's very, very proud of.
Massively, and
As
rightly
well.
so.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a cracking start to the day. We were there for what, 2.5 hours in the end?
A while.
We left at 1:30.
Yeah,
So they looked after us while we were there.
very much so.
And quite a few people, saw quite a few people buying some beers,
Merch as
Yeah.
well. Being
hats
bought.
and stuff.
Yeah, we bought the hats.
You bought some hats,
didn't
didn't
we?
you guys?
Yeah.
We merged
Yeah.
up.
Merched
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So what were the any highlights of the beers for you guys?
Well, for
just
me,
sort of
Saison Davon, I've always loved. I've had that before anyway, and I absolutely love that. So yeah, that was really good. I did end up accidentally doing a bit of a my own blend.
When you say accidentally.
So before the talk started, we'd got a Saison Davon. Then what was the other one? The can't read.
Hop hand fallacy.
Hop hand fallacy. Oh, that was it. That's the one we'd had first.
Yeah.
As a waiting for the talk. So I'd got that in the glass. Then the Saison Davon came out. And I ended up pouring it into the wrong glass. I ended up pouring it into the glass that had still got some of the hop hand fallacy in it. Instead of
It's a
the
bit
glass
of
that
an
had got
early time for blending.
An accidental blend.
But
Yeah.
I have to say it really worked.
A new thing being started.
Everybody else on the table were like, what are you doing? This is going to be horrible. And I was like, actually, this really works.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some great beers. They're a favourite brewery of mine anyway, but the Hop Hand Fallacy, 4.4%, it's a kind of Belgian inspired sort of sessionable beer. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And then the big stuff, the Apophenia triple, just super drinkable.
I'm glad you said that one because I can't pronounce it. So thank you very much. That's why we have guests on the show.
Exactly.
So they can pronounce stuff properly.
Yeah,
But that was
well
great. That
for us,
triple
yeah.
was lovely. You could easily lose yourself with that beer because it didn't taste up to that 9% mark, which is where
Yeah,
it's getting to.
we got quite excited over that one and was drinking quite a lot of our table share of that.
Is that the one you accidentally poured more than you meant to?
That's possibly that one, yeah.
Accidental pouring, accidental blending.
Yeah, what could go wrong? Well, as you're about to find out.
Yeah, quite a lot went wrong. Well, for some of us, at least. So yeah, I mean that was a great start to the day, and I just I do want to really publicly thank Annie and Alex for what they did for us yesterday. Like I say, it was very much above and beyond what we expected, but it was.
I
It
was
was
expecting
a lovely start to
two and
the-
just the bar being open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I would have been happy with that.
yeah.
But they even printed out Crimbo Crawl tasting notes for
I know.
us.
Yeah.
Which I think we've kept a couple of those, so we'll
Yeah.
post a picture of that. But it was lovely.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
maybe we could, now we're award winners, maybe we could sign them and run it as a competition.
Framed as well.
A signed and framed, limited edition.
See if
Tasting
it got
notes.
the original beer marks on it.
Yeah, see, none of this has gone to my head at all.
No,
As-
no, oh dear. But you now have your award as well, Steve. You know?
I do, yes. Which that was. Thank you. You brought it along and presented it to me yesterday, which was very much unexpected, and I did appreciate that. And it, and then you made me do a speech as well. which
Yes,
was-
yeah. I thought you'd feel awkward doing that, so that's why I insisted.
Brilliant. Thank you
That's-
for that.
that's all right.
Really, really appreciate
But it's
it.
better to do it later in the day.
That's true.
Because I had thought about it, me and Clayton had spoken about it, I thought about doing it in here and more. And I'm glad I chose Lost and Grounded.
Oh no,
that-
because Lost and Grounded was essentially a private party.
Well, but yeah, once I realised it was just us,
yeah,
I thought, yeah, that works actually.
yeah.
So it felt like the right place to do it.
Yeah.
Most people stuck with us for the day as well, didn't they?
We did still have quite a big group towards the end of the day.
Yeah, so I was quite,
all
I was
there.
pleasantly surprised about that as well
Yeah.
because it's a long day. And I thought Lost and Grounded would attract quite a few people, but I think most people sort of stuck with it.
It was a long day, and as we then proceeded to find out as well, there were quite some big gaps between some of the places that we had chose to visit.
Yeah, we obviously. Well, I've got a boot on at the moment for my foot anyway,
Yeah.
but that hampers us a little bit. But yeah, it felt like there was space.
Yeah.
There was a lot of room between
A lot of
venues.
walking, yeah.
So we left Lost and Grounded, and we went to the Barley Mow, and ruined their Saturday afternoon by having 40 people turn up.
Because I already had quite a big group in, didn't
Yeah.
they? It was like a group of women that were obviously out for the day
Yeah.
and decided they were going to go to this nice,
Quiet.
backstreet, quiet pub. And then suddenly 40 beer geeks descend through the doors and start drinking and shouting and quaffing on about how great beer is.
Yes, yeah, but they did it. I mean, there's some nice cask on in there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we went for cask, didn't we? We
yeah.
went straight in on the
Bristol
cask scale.
Bristol Beer Factory, and then I had something Shangri-La from Arbour.
Oh, okay.
Not having had enough Arbour the night
The
before.
previous night. I mean, we haven't even mentioned
The pre-Crimbo Crawl.
The pre-Crimbo Crawl, yeah, but we will come
Yeah.
on to that. So we were only in there. We weren't in there for long, and essentially it was a bit of a holding pen.
Yeah,
for
it's
us.
fine. It's 5 minutes from where we are now and more.
Yeah.
So it was a handy place to go to. It was a nice pub though in itself.
It was a lovely pub.
So I was
Yeah.
pleased. What I always like about the Crimbo Crawls is the actual pubs you get.
It was a great range of beers they had on as well. Like I
Yeah.
said, they had some really good cask, but they had a lot of really good keg selections.
Yeah, because I
as
got the
well.
High Wife,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Yeah.
But they had some good taps on,
Yeah.
and it was a nice little place, nice space out the back, I think as well.
Oh, I didn't
People.
see that. I think a few people went out the back.
Yeah.
didn't
There's a
they?
courtyard bit out the back.
Yeah.
And you know, if it'd been nicer weather, you got the bit out the front as well. So yeah, it was nice. But yeah, then we came to Moor.
We did, which is only a 5-minute walk around the corner. So one of the shorter walks of
Probably
of
the
day.
shortest walk.
And
that was between the volunteer and small bar.
Oh yeah, literally over the road.
Oh, yes.
which I wouldn't know. But again,
We'll get to that.
We'll come on to that. But the reason why we were kind of holding at the Barley Mow because we wanted to get to more for just after 2 o'clock because they had some special beers releasing
Yes.
yesterday. So they've done 3 double stouts.
Yes.
They've not called them imperial stouts. They've called them double stouts. So you've got a base version, and then there's 2 barrel aged versions as well. And they were releasing yesterday afternoon. And of course, what could possibly go wrong drinking imperial stouts
At 2:30 in the
2
afternoon.
in the afternoon?
So, guys, out of the 3 Imperial Stouts that we decided to have mid-afternoon, did you have a favourite?
This is where I got to fess up and actually say that I'd started pacing myself at this point. So I tried a couple of other people's, but I didn't actually go through them all, which is possibly why I don't feel too bad right now.
You're ruining the whole vibe of the Crimbo Crawl and the Day After podcast.
We're getting the look now, aren't we?
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
it's like, what? You didn't try
But
them
Vicky,
here?
you tried them, didn't you?
Again, I just had some sips of other people's like you do. I think for me, it's not my favourite style, that kind of thing. I like stouts, but when they do their imperial, sometimes if they're too boozy, and like you said, at 2:30 in the afternoon,
Yeah.
it probably was a bit. I was like, yeah. I think I tried the. Was there a rum one?
Yeah, there's
Rum,
there's a standard one, there's a whiskey one. And
So you got the straight whiskey and rum.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I had a fair bit of the straight one. That was good, but yeah.
But I think this is something that we've said recently about impy stouts in particular. It's very, very rare these days that you find a pure impy stout
Yeah.
that hasn't got adjuncts or is supposed to taste like ice cream or pastry or whatever.
Yeah.
To find a pure just imperial stout, which the base version of that beer was essentially that, and it was just so tasty as well.
For me, it was the best out of the three.
Yeah.
The base beer. And again, I know we haven't spoken much about Arbor, but we did a bit of a stout tasting there as well in the end.
Yeah.
And the base version, their breakfast stout, coming in at 7.4%, was better than the barrel-aged
The
iterations.
3 barrel-aged iterations
there
that
three?
we decided we were going to try all of them.
Well, that's because someone said they were there.
Well, you've got to catch them all.
Yeah. But the base version was the best one. I thought the base version yesterday was the best
Yeah.
one as well. What did you think, Clayton?
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you. Clayton saves his creativity for other times.
Without a doubt. So we were here for a while, and we also Moor put on a bit of a chat for us as well.
Yeah.
There's one of the brewers talking through the stouts,
Which is very good.
as well.
Bear in mind, it was quite busy yesterday, even before we turned up.
It was, but we kind of, where we're sat now, we kind of ended up taking over this end of the bar.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yeah, that's because other people just decided to move away from us.
Yeah, they took one look at the group and were like,
Because the table behind where you're sitting
yeah, we're
now,
not having any of that.
they left.
Yeah,
And there was one person on the phone there, then they looked up and went, oh, everyone's gone.
yeah.
We know how to clear a room.
Easily, yeah.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
Honed over many Crimbo Crawls.
So then we finished here and we walked back into town, which again, I thought it was a little bit closer than it, and it wasn't. It was quite a long walk, and it felt like we was walking for ages.
Yes. It got dark.
Yeah, we left here when it was still light. By the time we got to town, it was actually dark.
Yeah.
And we ended up making a bit of a diversion on our route and ended up in Brewdog. As you do.
Yes, why wouldn't you? Come all the way.
It was there, wasn't it? I think we were so thirsty after the walk that we just needed a beer.
Yeah, but a lot of people came in though, and like I say, lots of people have plenty to say about Brewdog, but the customer service was tops.
Without a doubt, yeah. And you know, like you say, people will know that I am
Have the
not
odd
their
rant.
greatest fan of the way that they do a lot of their things, but the customer service that we experienced in there yesterday afternoon on a busy Saturday afternoon at the beginning of December was out of this world.
Yeah, and nitro pour jet black car,
Yeah.
which was absolutely delicious. And to coin a phrase, these two were being sensible. That was our sensible beer.
That was our sensible beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notice the word beer, just the one.
What we'd normally call a porter break, but in this instance, it's a stout break.
Still ordered a pint though, didn't I?
Yeah, because we hadn't just had enough stouts.
No,
in
let's have more stout.
Yeah. So then after that, this is where things start beginning to get a little bit hazy for me. Not in the beer sense of the word, obviously, but
This is we didn't do any hazy beers, but we wild beer, wasn't it?
yeah, wild. So it's wild beer at Wapping Malt.
Yeah,
So
it's almost got a restaurant feel, I think.
Yeah.
It's
They
how
do
it
have a
fit.
food day,
Yeah.
Which we didn't partake in the food bit again.
No.
Yeah.
But we were joined by co-founder of Wild Beer, Brett,
Yep.
who was good enough to take us through.
Great name for someone who runs wild beer, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. He was good enough to take us through a tasting of their standard modus operandi,
Yeah.
and then the iced modus, which
is their special release,
ice
wasn't it?
bock version of it. Thoughts on those?
I'm a big fan of modus operandi anyway, and it was tasting tip top last night. That was really, I say last night, late afternoon,
Yeah.
but I thought it was beautiful.
Even in my slightly damaged state, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good beers. I mean, the modus operandi is that's kind of like base beer, isn't it? It's a Flanders Red by style, isn't it? And I found that to be, that's about 7%, isn't it? It's great. It's got that sort of like tartness to it and stuff. But the iced modus is almost double the strength, and that's a different beast altogether, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, for me, it doesn't feel like the same beer almost.
No.
Oh, it didn't feel like a beer because obviously it was flat. There was no carbonation in it because of the process it's been through. It's an ice block. But I was quite happily sitting in the corner enjoying iced modus.
Yeah, because it wasn't to everyone's taste, so a few of them got left, didn't they, Steve?
Yeah.
And then they were gone.
Yeah, and then I was. I think we worked out this morning that possibly I might have been minesweeping in the corner.
Yeah, so I think the wheels got loosened in Moor.
Yeah.
And fell off at Wild Beer.
Yeah, because I don't remember anything after Wild Beer. I remember some walking, and I remember some photos being taken outside. We did some photos in front of Christmas trees.
Yes, and we've got people taking photos of us trying to do a selfie.
Yeah. And we did make it to, was it the 3 tons?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We all made it to the 3 tons.
You only just with your boot up that hill.
Yes, it was quite a steep hill.
That suddenly was like...
There was a hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. See, I have, the only recollection I have of being in there was quite a blurry picture of the pub sign on my phone this morning, and the fact that I had a beer on a list that I don't remember ordering at any point, which I've since found out was the beer that you bought when we were in there.
Yeah, and then you were moaning, going, you were saying, yeah, there is a beer for you, it's somewhere on the bar, and I picked it up and I was making my way around people to get to you, and all I heard was you two having a go, going...
You thought I didn't get you a beer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then suddenly I appear and hand the beer, and you're like, see?
Yeah, thank you very much, Steve.
And then by all accounts, what was the phrase that we used there? I had a bit of a diva moment.
Yeah.
Decided I was going to leave, and you all sat in the pub and watched me walk the wrong way.
Yes. Yeah, you got up, you said, I can't remember exactly what you said, but you looked really pleased with yourself. And then outside, you grinned at us. We thought, okay, well, he's going away somewhere. And then the 2 locals near us said, he's going the wrong way, though.
I think maybe...
And yes, none of us came out to tell you.
Me being pleased with myself might think, I reckon I probably had the thought, if I go now, I'll get to the next place before everyone else. So I'll be first there, and I'll just be able to have a quiet beer in the corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you went the wrong way, so the plan fell apart
Went the wrong
really
way,
quickly.
got completely lost, found the last venue, small bar, went in there. There was no one in there, so I got a bit upset that no one was in there. Thought I'd missed you all, so went off back to the hotel.
We were probably in the Royal Naval Volunteer.
Via McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah, so as the remaining host,
Yeah, you're gonna have to take the rest of it from here.
we decided to stick to the Crimbo Crawl route, and we went to the Royal Naval Volunteer?
Famous.
Famous. Yes. So it's quite a mouthful. That was a nice pub, I thought.
Yeah.
There was a nice place in there. Not far from the small bar, Steve, so you probably could have waved at us from there.
I bet you're probably all sitting in there watching me. Just,
Oh, we weren't sitting. It was too busy to sit down.
Yeah.
It was rammed, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
But it's that time on a Saturday evening by then, isn't it?
Saturday night vibe in there. It
Yeah.
was,
But I thought it had a nice feel to it at the pub. What did we have in there, Clayton?
We had Bristol Beer Factory's Stairway to Brussels.
Thank you very much. What did I think of it?
I didn't talk to you about the actual beer, so
Oh, okay.
I didn't garner your
It's
opinion.
rubbish. What did you guys have? Did you enjoy your beer?
You're just hoping
that
they're the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I did. I had Stairway to
Get in.
Brussels, Bristol.
Can I get
Beer
tasting
Factory.
notes?
Yeah, red ale. Oh, no, I wasn't doing tasting notes at that point. I was just prodding the buttons to say I had the beer. It's a red ale, wasn't it? It was quite a rye kind of red ale.
I think it was quite sweet, actually.
It had a bit of a Belgian-y taste to it, which is probably where the Brussels reference comes in.
Yeah.
Belgian-y.
And, yeah.
There we go.
Slightly
Belgian red.
Belgian-y. I enjoyed it actually.
And then we went the great distance over the road, about 50 yards, maybe not even that, to the small bar. We didn't see you in there, Steve.
20
No, I
yards.
left.
You'd already
Because
left.
I thought none of you were coming.
You could have messaged us. And I think Clayton did message you later on as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh. Did I reply?
No.
Oh, I'm still waiting.
Oh, okay.
Hashtag diva.
I
then-
phoned you to see where you were.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did I speak to you?
yeah. You spoke to me and Una. You were like, I'm at the hotel, not coming back.
Oh, you
We were
proper
like, oh,
diva.
come on.
Yeah. I was done. I'd got comfort. I'd got my pyjamas on. I wasn't coming back out again.
This is all stuff no one needed to hear.
I know.
So we went to the small barn. I think we did actually manage to find a table in there.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
Got a bit of space, and I promptly ignored all the Stone beers, all the local beers, and had Colonel.
I probably would have done the same had I been with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was nice. The Centennial Cascade, wasn't it?
Centennial Cascade Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Yep, that was on form, on point, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, it was good. What, did you have the same for the Colonel?
I finished on the Colonel. Before that, I did go for one of the Stone beers because they're not that readily available around here, and I went for the Cocoa Power Porter, which was just masses of coffee. Masses. I didn't realise how coffee it was until I started drinking it. I thought, I'm not going to sleep tonight.
But that would have been a perfect beer for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Had I been there.
Well, you did go there. Did you not have a beer when you went in?
No, because I couldn't find anyone. I was like, well, I'm not drinking on my own.
Well, that's what you wanted to do, though.
Oh yeah. But something happened. All right, it's clearly the copious amounts of iced Novas that I shouldn't have been drinking.
Yeah, wheels off,
Yeah.
wild beer.
Yeah.
It's always good to pinpoint that moment, though.
Yeah.
But I think we finished at quite sensible times. I think we left the pub between 10:30 and 11ish.
Yep.
Yeah.
So quite a sensible end to the
Not too
Crimbo
late,
Crawl.
but yeah,
So,
late
but-
enough to have got everything done.
Has anyone got a highlight of the day then?
Well, I was just going to say it's it was just a bit of a different feel this year in terms of it was very easy to kind of plan. We always try and plan like almost a circular route, so you've always got a start and finish point. But we kind of started off over one side of the city and essentially trekked our way over the other side, and there was a bit of backwards and
Yeah, I mean, I think it
forwards in
depends
there as
on
well.
the cities you go to. I mean,
Yeah.
there's places like Leeds and Manchester, everything you can do quite close, really, and probably don't even need public transport or a taxi a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But here, I think to get to the places we definitely wanted to go to, so even if you just say Wild Beer, Moor and Lost and Grounded, then there was distance,
Yeah.
and there's nothing you can do about that.
But like, when we started planning it, Lost and Grounded and Moor were right at the top of the list in
Yes.
terms of we're going to Bristol, we have to do these two places,
Yes.
without a doubt, and everything else just built around
Yeah.
that. But highlight wise, without a doubt, it would have been Lost and Grounded
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yep.
Plus one here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
plus-
definitely.
plus two.
I think just then, everything they did for us,
Yeah.
it was like the ideal start for the day.
Totally.
Yeah.
They
Perfect.
got everyone was in a cracking mood by the time we left. Everyone was ready for the rest of the day,
Yeah.
and the weather didn't turn out too bad either.
No,
at
it
that
was
point.
all right, yeah.
So, I think that it was a cracking start. But yeah, I still enjoyed the stouts here at Moor, and I did enjoy trying them iced. Is it the iced modus?
Iced modus,
Yeah, yeah. That was good of them to. It was quite decent measures they brought out as well. To be fair,
Yeah.
wasn't it, Steve?
Very decent measure.
As you had a pint of it.
Yeah. But we weren't content with just doing the Saturday this year, were we?
No. We
we-
decided to turn it into a pre-Crimbo.
Well, we were arriving in town early anyway, early-ish on Friday afternoon, and we wanted to try and hit up a couple of the other taprooms that are in town.
Yeah, which we knew we wouldn't really be able to do on the Saturday.
Yeah. So we went to Arbour.
Yep, via the Google Maps, which was shit.
Yes.
Okay, do not use Google Maps in Bristol, listeners.
Yeah.
That's my public health warning for you.
Get a cab. That was a nice evening.
Yeah, it's really weird because I mean it is a porter cabin, isn't it? Effectively.
It's
Yeah.
a porter cabin, so and I'd heard this mentioned on Twitter prior to us going over as well, and I just thought, what can we expect really? But it was a warm porter cabin.
Yeah.
It had some beer there. Only 2 keg lines, wasn't there? But
Yeah.
a massive selection of stuff in the fridge.
Yeah, I was disappointed not to see some of their beers on cask. I'll be honest, because I think some of their
I
beers
think
are
we were both
suited.
surprised at that
Yeah.
because, like you say, they do a range of beers that are particularly suited to
Yeah.
cask dispense.
But yes, once we discovered the fridge, and people started turning up as well.
Well, it was almost like when we first got in there, it's probably fair to say we were a little bit taken aback by how sparse it was in,
Yeah.
in terms of just the 2 keg lines.
Yeah, the no cask,
and then just
almost
the
had me
fridge.
walking out.
And I think we said, well, we'll have a beer and then we'll leave. And we were about to leave, and then some people turned up. So, we'll have a beer. And
Yeah.
We'll go after this one, and then some more people turned up, and then suddenly there were like 12 of us around the table. We discovered there was a range of Impy Stouts in the fridge, and that was that.
Yeah.
Happy Friday.
Well, happy then.
But we didn't stop just there.
Oh no, the sensible thing would have been to have stopped there,
Yeah.
but no, we decided we wanted to go to Wiper and True.
Yes,
As well.
but the beer we had there first of all.
Oh, Phantasmagoria
Yeah, lovely,
Tank Fresh IPA.
beautiful beer.
That was delicious.
Wow.
That was a
Yeah.
brewery exclusive as well, wasn't
Yeah.
it? I don't think they packaged it or it's available anywhere else. And
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
yeah,
you can
that's
only
what it
get
said
it
on
in
the
the
board.
brewery.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that was superb. It was just a perfect beer to have
Yeah.
there night, especially after the evening stouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's lovely, nice little space.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
they've got there.
Yep.
Good range of beers. I mean, I think I had the milk stout after that.
Yeah,
That
we
was
did
nice.
have that as well.
Yeah, we had that. That was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of that one anyway.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones which, although there's a big craze for doing the whole pastry type stouts, that feels like it was more of an old fashioned milk stout. And what is it? Sits around about 4? Is it 4?
Yeah.
So it's quite
very
nice.
low ABV.
Bags of flavour though.
I found it really fresh as well because
Yeah.
it was served cold as
Yeah.
well, and that worked really well for
Yeah,
me.
so it warmed up a little bit, didn't it,
Yeah,
as well when you're
yeah.
drinking it. But yeah, that was nice. Then we did call it a night
Well,
because they told us to leave.
Yeah,
They
only because-
I think they wanted to close up and go home apparently.
yeah. Yeah. But it was nice to have that kind of pre-session on the Friday night almost
Yeah.
to hit some of the places that we knew we couldn't do on the Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, and thanks to Terry for buying chips for everyone.
Oh yes, yeah,
And
those
prawn crackers.
those
And
chips
prawn
were-
crackers.
were an absolute winner.
Yeah. If he could have done that yesterday as well,
Crackers.
that would have been really handy.
Oh. Yeah.
Terry, why didn't you buy them the second
Yeah.
day?
Well, you did try and ask him, and he was like,
Yeah, he wasn't having any of it,
Yeah.
was he? But yes, the chips were most welcome.
Yeah, and so next year,
Yeah, we'll do it all again,
We'll go
but
then.
we'll see if we can get the wheels to come off later, Steve.
much later.
Okay, and
Yeah.
we have just announced where next year's will be.
Going to Manchester
Yeah,
next year, apparently on Conor Murphy's birthday.
exactly. So down in flames, Connor.
So we are very much expecting Conor to be out with us for the day.
Exactly. No pressure, Connor.
Yeah, none whatsoever. But obviously, it's a bit far in advance to start thinking about next year. I mean, we've only just, much like the Coca-Cola advert, now we've had the Crimbo Crawl. Christmas can start.
Yes, it's launched.
People can start celebrating Christmas now.
Yeah, because I think Lost and Grand did only put their Christmas decorations up yesterday for us.
Yeah,
So
specifically.
yeah, just for us.
Yeah.
So it's very good of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, both the Friday night and the Saturday were cracking and meeting new people and reacquainting with some old faces as well. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was,
people-
like I say, it was a nice crowd that we had.
Yeah, I
throughout
mean,
the day as well.
people from Scotland turn up.
I know, every year.
Yes.
Wouldn't be the Crimbo Crawl without Ron.
No, exactly. Ron, our production manager.
Yeah, who's sitting in the background now,
Yeah.
chuckling into his cup of coffee.
Yeah, thinking it's not as good as when you just listen to it, and they can see us as well.
Yeah, you won't need to listen to this one.
Yeah, no, you still need to download it, Ron.
Yeah, stats. It's all about the stats. That's quite a nice segue into podcasts.
Yes.
We are joined by, as we said at the beginning, Simon and Vicky from Beers Without Frontiers, and we have beer.
Yes. So
Because-
the first bit we were drinking coffee.
We were, because the taproom wasn't actually open.
Yeah, so they opened so we could come in and record, but
Yeah.
they hadn't opened to serve beer. However, we have paused. We now have beer.
And what is it we're now drinking?
How do you say it? Batallas?
Yeah.
Batallas. It's the straight version which we referred to earlier. So this is the base beer, isn't it?
Double stout, 8-point-something%.
12:05.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we get a time check?
Yeah,
please?
12:05.
We're not all on that though.
No.
there's a lot of dark beer on the table. But
Yeah.
Vicky, you have something
Yeah, I've got
particularly
the-
light.
"Do it together," which is, what did it say? Was it mango
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 tea.
tea.
tea? Pale ale.
Oh.
Yeah. Probably ticks all of your boxes there, Steve.
Yeah.
Tea and mango.
Every single one of them. But yeah,
Anyway,
so
cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Welcome to the show. Oh, that is nice.
That is
I mean,
delicious.
that is really delicious.
It hasn't got that boozy hit, really, has it?
No, and I've just noticed there are cans in the fridge as well, so I'm going to find as much space as I've got left in my suitcase
To put cans
fill
of
it full
this.
of cans of this, yeah.
I think it meant train beer.
That's not.
We're not ruling that
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, surely they only need to stay in the case until you get to the train station, and then they'll come out.
People are
again.
making such assumptions about us.
out. So the thing is, if they go in the case, they're going to get rumbled over pavements, and then I'm going to open them on train, and we all know what's going to happen. I'm going to
Okay.
spray the carriage in Dole Stout.
Okay, so Coach G for you,
Yeah.
Coach F for us, Clayton.
Sounds like a plan.
So Simon, Vicky, Beers Without Frontiers, been
Yep.
going nearly a year now, hasn't it?
Yep. We were just kind of deciding to start up a podcast about a year ago because we were talking about it on the Sheffield Crimbo Crawl, weren't we? So yeah, we've been going for a year, and basically just kind of, I know there's a whole bunch of podcasts popping up all over the place at the moment, but we're kind of trying to focus a little bit on a Midlands scene, West Midlands kind of sort of thing really, and talk to people, brewers and people in the beer bubble in the West Midlands, really.
So who else is on the show with you? Because it's more than just you two, isn't it?
Yes, our co-host is Charles, who sadly can't be here today. Not sure why, but he's probably playing golf. There's the three of us that just kind of put a show together, put it out once a month, and hopefully get some engagement from people, and people find it interesting enough to listen to.
And we'll occasionally get other people that we know locally and with friends in every now and then, to give it a little bit more of a different voice, so to speak, and get different opinions. Depends on what we're talking about as well. Was it when we just did the Brute one? That was just the three of us, wasn't it?
That's right. Some shows are just us kind of talking about beers, and we did a themed one on Brute IPAs because that was the kind of hot topic at the time. And other times we'll talk to breweries. We've interviewed Twisted Barrel in Coventry and the newly launched Machinistas brewery, also just set up in Coventry as well. So and it's just kind of shining a light on some of these breweries and people involved with them that may go a little bit under the radar of the big hype cities of Manchester and Leeds and London. So just trying to do our bit for our neck of the woods, really.
Well, I think that's a good idea, and I think that's where, when new podcasts do come up from different areas and then they focus on the region, I like that because it does give me an insight which I wouldn't normally have had. So Same with Men Behaving Badly, featuring like the Market Harbour Leicestershire scene. You guys are doing that Midlands thing.
Sheffield cast doing
Sheffield, and we've got Miles popping in and out doing north of that. Who? So Miles used to be number one fan.
Oh yeah.
Remember him? Vaguely.
Ish.
Tall fella.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Him.
So I think it's really good when people do focus there, because I think it's probably something which we don't really do.
No, but we also made a conscious effort not to do that as well, because obviously we live in Essex.
Our beer scene is very London,
and we think that essentially London gets enough shouting about it done. So
and there's not much to shout about in Essex a lot of the time.
No, there's nothing to shout about in Essex.
But we've only just started canning.
Yeah, I know. So we obviously purposely avoided focusing on doing a regional theme, and obviously we do what we do.
Yeah.
But I think it is good when you get to sit and listen. I mean, I really enjoyed the most recent show that you did with Machinistas. It was great listening to essentially what sounds like a really small brewery that are small batch brewing in their garage.
Absolutely, a Pico brewery, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's their stuff is probably not going to make it out of the Midlands at all, but it's one of those things for our listeners that are somewhere in the Midlands that may pick up some of their beer somewhere in Birmingham or Coventry or whatever. It's worth kind of shining a light on them and letting people know that they're out and about.
But like they were saying as well, it's that whole thing about they're very keen in Coventry and as well to get that more breweries going, so you get that beer scene going in there, and then if we can get a local podcast that can also help with that, it's just all of that whole promotion and just carrying on with that, isn't it?
Lifting it all up, isn't it?
Totally.
I mean, Leeds and Manchester, and obviously I think take London out of it sort of, but they can feed on themselves now, because as soon as someone else joins, they know that they've already got a scene there to get into.
Yeah.
I think Coventry and other parts of the Midlands definitely having to create that, and probably still got a little way to go. I think on the Machinista one, you talked about maybe you could do a crawl one day and go through a few different places, but you probably wouldn't repeat it straight away either, because you've ticked the main places to go to. So there is obviously still a scene to be created, but it's definitely starting. And when you've got people like Twisted Barrel, it's a good starting point to have, because they've got lovely space over at the Fargo Village, and they do make some cracking beers.
Absolutely.
But it's like even in Birmingham, 3-4 years ago, it was literally the city centre to go. Now suddenly we've got all these different areas we can go to. There's the jewellery quarter, and there's a few places around there, and then there's obviously the city centre. The trouble with Birmingham is public transport getting out to some of the other.
I remember that's what they said when we went up there to record.
Yeah, when you recorded with Bob and Sarah and whatever.
And they said it was the public. They said it's getting better though.
Yeah, but that's where it's still slightly fragmented. But at least you have got now where you can kind of go, right, if we get ourselves over to.
I think what's happening now though is that little dots are joining up. You know, there is now talk locally of a Sturchley, which is a suburb of Birmingham, a Sturchley Mile, where you're getting like, there's a brewery there, there's the famous Cottridge Wines, one of the best bottle shops in the country, and there's Attic Brewery just set up, and as we say, Glasshouse Brewery, and this is all getting to the point now where you can have half a dozen things within a mile's walk. And they all join up like that. So yeah, once you got yourself there, you got yourself a whole day's worth of drinking.
Yeah, but having those bits in between where you haven't got, like we had yesterday, the gaps would always attract people as well. Because people, we like things to be easy, don't we? Really.
Oh yeah.
And so if you do create a place where you've got like half a dozen, like I say, let's stay. Or a pre-Crimbo Crawl event in 2020.
Yeah.
Just jumping 2 years ahead there on just the pre-crawl plan.
Yeah, pre-Crawl plan. Well, he just described a perfect pre-Crimbo Crawl evening in Sturchley.
This really is like the Olympics now, isn't it? When cities are announced 2 years ahead.
Yeah,
and they've won the bid.
Unfortunately, no one bribes us though. There's no brown paper envelopes.
We do also have the next couple of years in mind as well, after the two that we've announced now.
Constantly planning.
Constantly planning. It's all Steve does.
Got to share the love. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
but that's it, and that's what you guys would do with it. You know, like you were saying, you've got to have people come down from Scotland and all places to this. You're doing that, getting people together, and it becomes a wider beer community.
Yeah.
But it's good.
We never want either the crawl or the podcast or the engagement to be exclusive.
No.
So by actual doing stuff and turning up, because we still have to, we're still booking our own trains, we're doing the hotels. We tried to put a crawl together. Boke and Bailey helped us out with some of that.
Yeah.
So advised a few places, also suggested a few places probably wouldn't be suitable just on numbers on a Saturday. But we want to meet people as well. That's the best bit. It's just meeting people.
I think you've done that massively. There is like a whole social kind of hub thing really is built with the sort of combination of the podcast that you've done for such a long time now, and the social media aspect of it, and then the whole thing yearly just comes together in the Crimbo Crawl, and it's just brilliant because it's if you were being really on one extreme, you say, oh, you've built a brand, which is a bit too commercial, but you've actually built a community, is the way I prefer to look at it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for saying it. I appreciate it. But we're supposed to be talking to you about your podcast, not carry on interviewing us though.
I did say all about Steve.
It always ends up that way.
So he's very good at that. Very good.
So the intention going forward for Beers Without Frontiers is to continue that sort of regional and local focus?
I think a mix of that and other stuff. Like we said, we've done shows that have just been the three of us sat drinking beer on something that's quite topical, like the Brut IPA one or something. We don't want to be just about what's local, because ultimately then why would anyone in, I don't know, Newcastle even listen to what we're talking about? We want to kind of do a mix really of just what's happening at the moment and great beers that you can find with, hey, let's just talk to local people as well and getting a balance of it really. So that's, we've got people that we want to speak to over the next few months, try and get something sorted out or whatever. But yeah, just to sort of carry on. We think putting it out monthly strikes the right sort of balance as well. I mean, weekly, as you guys probably found out, is kind of a bit of a...
It became too much for us.
Yeah.
It started to feel like a bit of a chore, whether it be just arranging, we could always be free once a week, and then for Steve, a second night free to do the editing.
Yeah.
And yourself, Simon, doing the editing, it's not an easy task.
Yeah, it varies from show to show. Sometimes, I've spent 3 days editing before now, and other times it's like you don't need to do too much at all. But it's all stuff that adds up. And so, like you say, you want to keep it balanced really, where it's something that's fun to do and put good content out as well.
Yeah, that's important for me. You'd run the risk of it not being as good if you're doing it too often.
Yeah.
Well, that's sometimes can be it, can't it? Sometimes it feels like we could do one quite often because there's loads going on, and other times it's like, oh, what are we going to do for this one then? Because actually it's like, there's only so many new beers out to try, or there's only, and then there's only so much you can talk about those beers, and then if you've got no other theme around it, it kind of gets a bit like, okay, it feels like you're making something out of thin air kind of thing.
And you don't want it to sound a bit jaded as well.
Yeah.
I mean, what was a bit frustrating for us is when we switched to every 2 weeks is that something would nearly enough always happen on the Tuesday after we'd recorded.
Yep.
near enough guaranteed
Yeah.
something would drop. I was like, for goodness sake, why couldn't that be
And
24
then
hours
you
earlier?
kind of miss it, don't you?
Yeah,
Miss that too.
because it's now
Yeah.
13 days later, which case it's not really news anymore. It's like the
Yeah.
old thing, you know, today's news, tomorrow's fish and chip wrapper,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I think as Simon, you alluded to earlier on that there are, certainly over this last year, there's been an absolute influx of beer podcasts now. And I try to keep up with them because I do like to listen to the competition, see what they're doing. But also obviously we run the directory on our website, and I like to try and keep that as up to date as possible as a reference point for people that are looking for beery content. And I think it's getting, you can, from some of the new ones that are coming up, and you listen to them and you're almost like, this is the same formula now. It's getting very difficult to almost find your USP within what is now a very busy market.
Yeah.
And I think that ideal that you've got of trying to stay local and bring those local stories to a national audience is one of those things that will ultimately begin to set you apart from the crowd a little bit.
I think, as long as we don't tread on anybody else's toes, men behaving badly.
I feel there's a bit of a turf war.
Yeah, I want you guys to record together and just watch.
Can we come and ref that?
East meets West Midlands. Pod Wars.
Pod Wars.
Pod Wars.
It sounds like Simon's laying down the challenge
Yeah.
here and now to the
Here and
men
now.
behaving a bit badly boys.
I think it still works. I don't think there's too much where you tread on each other's toes. I think there's a good combo. And again, what works, and I think I was saying it yesterday, is that it's the conversational style of podcasting that I like, the sort of ones where people are just chatting and stuff comes out of it. I do like the interviews, but I don't like it when it's just an interview, then an interview, and an interview, because that's just a Q&A then.
Yeah.
And you don't get the chance to... You don't always learn anything new sometimes with an interview anyway, because how many times can you ask the same question to people who've probably heard that question 100 times already?
Yeah.
When they become part of it, like the one you did with Machinistas, I thought you got a really good balance between just having a conversation with them and actually getting the info as well.
Yeah.
And that's when it works.
Yeah.
That all felt like it was all kind of backloaded because you did all the chatty stuff with them, and then it was only towards the end that you had the discussions with them about the brewery.
Yeah.
And that was a great balance, because otherwise it essentially becomes a hour and a half long advert for a single brewery.
Yeah.
So no, the conversational side, that's why I was saying, I messaged men behaving badly when they said they were hoping to do more interviews, and I said, great, but it's the conversational between the three of you, like when they did the Cloudwater beers, because they are on a journey, and it's great hearing the three of them have that journey together. It's good fun listening to them.
Yeah, I got a bit lost there when you said that when they had the Cloudwater beers. I'm still struggling with the order that they did those beers in.
Oh, they did the wrong order completely.
There is no rhyme or reason to starting off with the darkest beer and then working your way back to the Pow and then going, not really getting much from this Pow. I wonder why.
2 dark beers and a DDH beforehand.
It was completely the wrong way.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I love about what they do.
Yeah.
Like you say, they're on a journey, and you can listen to.
They are effectively making it up as they go along. But it's enormous fun listening to them, the same as you guys. I would say you guys are probably further into your beer journey, so your podcast isn't doing the natural bit of the journey. But like I said, that local voice. I love the Brute IPA one, because it convinced me that it wasn't really anything I needed to try. So thank you very much. Public service.
But just on that, and I'll take it off on a slight tangent.
Not like us.
That has really proved to be a real flash in the pan style. People thought it was the next big thing, the next big trend, but already it's just gone.
You don't see too much of it. No.
I think Hamilton still have is it Iron Brute?
Yeah, and I think Marble have just put out the one that I was raving about, Guillotine.
Yeah.
They've just put that out in cans. But I'm literally, I had one a few weeks ago and I got to a point and I was like, I've already lost interest in this as a style.
No, I mean, the New England might not be my cup of tea a lot of the time, but I get what they're trying to do. I think I understand the style.
Yeah.
With the Brew, I don't really understand what it was trying to be or trying to do.
Yeah.
Might have to go to San Diego or somewhere like that to try one from one of the original sources.
Well, that's kind of what we said. We were like, there was that little bit of we've got no frame of reference because we've
Yeah.
never had the original to know is this a good style, not good style,
Yeah.
and and then there was like the Cloudwater one. They then soured it as well, hadn't they?
It was
there
a brewed sour kind of
and it
combo.
was kind of
Yeah.
why
Well,
did
as-
they do that? And yeah, Clayton's doing it.
Yeah, Clayton's going, why?
Shrugging on it,
But that sort of thing happened again because a lot of the big breweries in the UK that kind of come of those, some of those ones that are always in front of a style or on top of a style, then started bastardising that style,
Yeah.
and it stopped just being a brute IPA. It was a brute IPA with grape extract, and it was like, well, you've taken what was the original concept
Yeah.
and you're trying to make it into something even differenter.
Yeah.
Different?
Different.
We just
More-
make-
even
we-
more different.
Are we just making words up now?
Yeah, why not? But yeah, and it's
I don't think it had enough time to breathe as a style to start
No.
mucking
No.
around with
Yeah,
it.
Exactly that. Yeah, it's only turned up, and within seconds, people are going, "Oh, we're going to do a twist on this style that most people ain't tried already."
Yeah.
yeah. But I think the reference point is an excellent one as well, because probably most of us came into this journey and maybe would have started off with a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. There's your reference point for a pale ale. It's like, that's what I know a great beer should taste like, and then you almost measure everything against that original thing
Yeah.
that you had. I don't think any of us ever got to try the original brute IPA that was created in San Diego by essentially a chef.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it champagne yeast that they use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the only other beer I know that uses champagne yeast is the Marriage Parfait.
It's the champagne heat, but it was
And it's also
that
the enzyme that they add to dry it out.
That-
Oh, that's the one that you
Oh
pronounce.
yeah, what's that?
amyloglucosidase.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I'm not even going there.
Yeah, funny enough, Charles and Simon
Yeah.
were the same as well. It was like,
I'm going to get a T-shirt with that on. Yeah.
Don't,
Words I can't say.
Yeah.
don't pay per letter then. That'll cost you a fortune.
Is one of the curious beers re-fermented on champagne yeast?
Oh yeah, it could be. Yes, I think you're right there. But yeah, my starting point for a champagne yeast in a beer is the Marriage Parfait, which I think is an adorable beer. And if you're going to use champagne yeast and it's not as good as that, even if it's a different beer, it's not good.
Again, it's having that benchmark beer,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So although it's a different style, but I found Marriage Parfait a superbly drinkable Belgian beer. So yeah, if you're going to use champagne yeast, use it well. Or just don't bother.
Maybe that could be an interesting show for the future. We get a benchmark beer, and then we find the most bastardised version of it that
Yes, that might be a long show. But then we're going to slate a whole load of beers.
we can. No, I'm not saying slate. Just saying that this is
Compare and
base beer.
contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how far
It's gone in the
this style
style.
has gone.
Oh, we can do that with New England IPAs, because when I was in the States, most of them aren't as gloopy as the ones over here. Definitely. So at least I was able to refine my reference point for those
Yeah.
recently. That was quite handy actually. They're definitely fruity, but the gloop, I think it's oats they use over here.
Yeah, to thicken up the body.
Yeah, and that's the bit which I think
That's for me. That's where I think you get that sugary edge that I don't like
yeah,
as well.
it just adds too much for me. Whereas a couple of ones I had at Trillium didn't feel like they had that great big body.
Name dropper.
Yeah, when I was at Trillium,
Maybe not one of the breweries you want to be name dropping at the moment.
Yeah. Moving on.
oh, yeah, I mean, no, but seriously, I mean, when I read about that, because I can picture that place, and there aren't that many people. There's the people who do the actual shop front bit of it. So you go in, so it's a big square. The right hand side is all the bar, and the one at the back is where they've basically got a massive cold store. So everything's coming out there, and they get queues of people for that, and they're paying front of house as if they're going to get a tip. Well, generally, people don't tip when they're buying stuff to take away.
No.
And they're probably just using a card as well. So it's just going to flash the card and then they're off. And they're churning out. And, I mean, I saw people buy like 20 slabs of the beer. It's like 24.
There's no limit on the amount that they can buy then.
Unless there's a special release, but there was nothing advertised. I think you buy, everything comes in like minimum of 4 cans. I think there's a minimum, but the prices were good.
Yeah.
But when I found out that that's how they were working out, some of them were getting like $4 an hour or something. It's like, that's just ridiculous. $4 an hour. I mean, even with our shitty exchange rate, that's bollocks, that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, at least it gave me a chance to try some of those beers with that style, and I had a slightly different take on them then. Because I've had the bastardised versions over here, as you put it so eloquently.
Yeah, maybe think of a better word.
Yeah, different title for that show?
Yeah, I think so. The bastardisation of beer. might write a book.
Oh no. No.
No, I think we've established that the spoken word is my forte. Yeah.
That's where we're good, Steve.
Yeah. Just bring it back to Beers Without Frontiers then. Segue. Yeah. Nobody noticed that. What's next for you guys? What you got coming up in the next few months?
On the horizon, none of this is definite yet, but we're looking at possibly doing a triannuary special to kind of focus on that in January, about the whole kind of, try something new for January kind of thing, which has taken off the last couple of years, hasn't it? So there's that. Hopefully getting to speak to Josh, the head brewer at Glasshouse Brewery, which is definitely causing a real stir in the local area. They're actually really highly rated on Untapped now. Their beers have started turning up in London, I think, and various other slightly more further out from the Midlands area. So that's on our agenda as well to speak to him, because they're definitely causing a bit of a stir. And they did a crowdfund kind of thing as well to open their tap room, which should be opening, I think, January, maybe February sort of time or whatever. So those are things, but we don't tend to kind of plan as meticulously as you guys. So
Steve can plan for you if you want. He loves it.
For a fee.
Oh, there's the rider.
This month it's West Coast IPAs. Next month the same.
Okay, he's
Something
read it.
crispy.
Yeah.
He's read the list.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I'm giving it away now.
This month we're going to bitch about Essex Brewery.
Yeah. Look forward to hearing about Glasshouse though, because like I say,
very
there's
much so.
definitely been a bit of noise about them, and I know you've mentioned them before, so I look forward to that one and just finding out what they're about. I haven't seen any of their beers yet myself though.
No, me either. Are they small packing at the moment, or is it
Not
just all
quite yet. I reckon it's going to be in the new year before they start small pack, but they're definitely going to be doing that. Yeah.
So it's just tap space they're getting hold of.
Yeah.
Fair
So
enough.
obviously we'll put a link in the show notes, but where do people find the podcast?
Well, basically, we are on soundcloud.com/Beers Without Frontiers, or you can get us in all the usual podcatchers, which is my preferred way of listening to podcasts.
Same here.
Through iTunes, Stitcher, we're now on Spotify, all of those, and we're on Twitter at Beers_Frontiers.
Fantastic. Well, you're gonna stay with us and go through the opinions discussion with us.
Yep.
But we've got empty glasses.
We have, so we need to correct that.
We're gonna just get another beer.
Yep.
And then we'll get into opinions.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys.
Our glasses have been magically restored and refilled
Yeah, we've decided to go for pints.
and grown considerably in size.
Yeah, so we've gone for a pint of the All Dayer. You got Clayton for us?
All day, yep.
So it's basically a session IPA.
Yeah.
I think it's about 3-point-something%.
Is it really? Is that all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
3.8,
flavour.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's got some incredible flavour going on. It's just like really crispy,
Anyway,
really citrusy.
cheers. Cheers, everyone.
Let's just go around the table. What's everyone got in their glasses?
Juicy Jones, a fruit IPA, 6.5%.
Yeah, same with me. So I'm climbing up the ABV ladder now. You guys are
We're
coming down.
We're coming down. We've gone up the slide. We're coming down now.
Yeah. I'm on the Claudia, which is a hopped wheat beer, 4.5%. And damn good.
Yeah, I've had that before. That's a really nice beer. That one.
Yeah, but let's face it. Another reason we wanted to come to Moor, not just because the tap room and the stands, they're all good beers.
They're incredible beers. Yeah.
So
So they're one of those breweries that consistently produce good beer.
yeah, and not very shouty.
No.
So you don't see much
Understated,
about
Just
them.
do what they do, don't they?
Yeah, and they literally get on with it.
Yeah.
But if I'm out and I do see something from Moor on tap, I will often have it. So it's a good place.
Yeah. So while we're enjoying this beer,
Yes.
let's get into this week's opinions question.
Opinions, 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 opinions.
Which was, well, originally we wasn't going to feature this on the post Crimbo Crawl show, because normally we're struggling a little bit while we're recording this. It's been a heavy day the day before, and we just focus on what we've done the day before. But we put this question out, and it had what can only be described as an overwhelming response.
Well, it broke all records
It did.
by quite some distance.
Yeah. So we asked the question: are you a fan of cashless pubs, bars, and taprooms? 1,214 votes, which is I think our previous best was just under 800.
Yeah.
So it's almost a
Smashed.
third better
Smashed.
than that. And I have no understanding as to why
No,
there were that many votes and that much interest in this as
and
well.
a lot of comments.
Yeah, lots of
It
comments.
wasn't just the votes, there was a lot of comments.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where, it obviously just sparked something for people. Right?
Yeah.
I was looking at the comments and the votes. I mean, we hit 300 or 400 votes in an hour or so.
Inside of an hour, yeah.
That's just amazing.
Which would normally take us, being the nerd that I am and tracking these things as it
Have you got a
goes
spreadsheet
on,
for that as well?
It normally takes us until kind of bedtime on Sunday to hit that many votes, and then there's a slight spike overnight.
And then the
few
spike
more
for
on Monday.
commuting and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, but yeah, an overwhelming number of votes, so thanks to everybody that voted, and thanks to all of the comments as well, and we are going to dig into some of these comments. But 54% of people said yes, so it was a very close vote as well. And it was kind of moving throughout the day.
Yeah, I didn't know which way it was going to go.
Getting closer at times. I thought that there was one moment where I thought this is just going to creep and it's going to end up at 50-50. I think it's going to be absolutely split down the middle. But in the end, most people saying yes, they are fans of it.
Yeah, 54-46, still close though.
Yeah. So doing things slightly differently this week. Let's get into our views on this because we're all sat here around the table. Let's have.
No warning. I've looked at the notes. You didn't say you're going to ask us first. I was ready for everyone else's comments.
Well, I'm not asking you first.
Okay, that's right.
So you can go last if you want.
No, I'll go first.
Actually, the first comment that's on the list is Simon's.
Oh yeah, so it is. Well, this is what. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of cashless. I think it's better for pubs not having to keep cash on site overnight. I believe that being cashless may reduce their insurance costs. And I hear the argument that some people have made within this about cashless excludes some people, but there are ways around that. You can load money onto a prepaid kind of card and all that sort of thing, and just speedier service, which is kind of we were experiencing that in Small Bar last night. They're card only now, so those are the benefits, and I like that.
Because it's quite timely as well that you mentioned Small Bar, because obviously we were coming to Bristol and I didn't realise, I think maybe subconsciously I had seen the discussion happen on Twitter, because they went cashless only about a month ago, didn't they? And it kicked off quite badly over that. They were getting quite a bit of abuse on social media over the fact that they were going cashless. But they did put together quite an interesting blog, which we'll link through in the show notes, that explains their reasons for why they've done it. Now, clearly, I didn't make it into Small Bar last night. Well, actually, I did. I walked in and I walked through and I walked out again. So I didn't actually experience it. But you guys were all in there last night. Did it make it easier?
For me, yesterday, usually I'm in the same camp as Simon, but because we had a kitty between the three of us, I was ready with cash. Obviously, I couldn't use the cash when we got there, so I'm assuming the reason why there is cash left is because I must have used the card when I went to the bar. But I didn't see it being a problem for anyone who was there. I mean, it was busy when we got there. It took a little while for us to get our table and seats, etc. So they don't appear to have lost custom.
It hasn't affected their business.
Doesn't seem to have. I mean, surely if it had, you'd switch back anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be easy enough to suddenly switch back to having cash.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I thought I would never...
So you're not going to wait until the end?
No.
Okay.
No, I've started now.
Once you've started.
Yeah, you wound me up now. No.
Okay.
No, I think, for me, I was always of these things, but I'd always have cash on me. But slowly but surely, subconsciously, I find myself without cash quite a lot now. And I have just got a card, or you can obviously use your phone and even your smartwatch these days, can't you? At work, we're cashless, so we can either load up our card, which is our security card, or we can actually use our Visa for the canteen as well. So there isn't any encouragement there. All the bars near work, I mean, to be honest, I experienced it yesterday. They pass the card machine straight away. Brewdog did it. As soon as I was about to pay, passed me the card machine. And I think I confused a few places by handing over cash.
She was quite surprised in Brewdog when you got cash out. She was like, "Oh, cash!"
Yeah.
it was almost like she'd never seen it before.
Yeah. And a lot of the generations below us around the table aren't going to see much cash, are they?
That's quite an assumption that you're making about the people around the table, mate. Come on.
Okay, I am making an assumption, but I'm going to stand by it, or in my case, sit by it. But for me, one of the things I did jot down a few bits and pieces. I think it feels convenient to me when it all works, and I think a few people made that that you are then beholden to technology completely. So if you have a power cut or the internet goes down, then you can have a problem. And me and Michelle experienced that on the boat, on the ship, on the last day, which was a day at sea. So they've got full. All of the P&O payment system went down. So they were having to handwrite effectively the old slips for everything, and it's a sea day, so everyone was there. It was like a nightmare. They'd taken ages. Some people were getting quite ratty about it, and because they've got used to the speedy service, you order, they bring it over, you just sign a bit of paper. But that's, I think, can be a problem, is that you are then beholden to technology. There isn't really a plan B. So people probably don't have the old, or even remember the old card machines as well, the ones you used to slide across. So for me, convenience, less risk. I agree with Simon. I think there's less risk with lack of cash, but also hygiene. Notes and coins are a very good way of spreading germs. You've removed that element straight away.
And you're an absolute germaphobe anyway, aren't you? So.
Well, I am, because people are selfish with their germs. Or too generous, depending on your point of view. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Carry on. I'm going to have a drink of beer.
Rant over. Clayton, Vicky, any additional thoughts to add to this?
I voted no, despite the fact that I use my phone for paying for nearly everything these days.
I don't think I've ever seen you use cash. No. Even when we're at the Owl House at Bottle Share, I've never seen you use cash.
No, I haven't. I often don't have it on me, but I don't like the exclusionary way that it, by default, can block people who don't use cards.
Yeah.
So it's more ideological than practical, my kind of objection. Also, ask Moor if they're taking cards today.
Are they not?
Broken.
Oh.
Yeah. It said the
cash only here today.
Contactless bit wasn't working in the first place, and I think it's gone completely, hasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, so if you came in here with no cash today, you'd be leaving.
But then, so that's the problem, then, isn't it? So this is why I like the cards, is that whole, I'm another one who doesn't have much cash anymore, and then suddenly you're in a strange city, you've got to find a cash point.
Yes.
And a lot of people were saying that on some of the comments.
And you've got that whole thing about, I've got to look behind me, who's, again, the whole thing with women is like, I still haven't quite got away from not carrying a handbag yet, but there's a part of me that's thinking, actually, I've got my watch, I've got my phone, I've got payment methods in any other way other than cash. And I still haven't quite got away from not having a handbag yet, but actually it'd be quite nice to not have a handbag.
Not carrying the same around, it's less valuable as well. Yeah.
Just taking that example of where Moor is in terms of Bristol, I mean, it's on the edge of an industrial estate. Yeah. There's very few residential areas immediately what you can see. And
there isn't a cash point. There isn't even a shop.
The town centre is a 10-minute walk from here.
Yeah.
So if you came here today and you were specifically coming here to have a drink and you hadn't bought any cash with you,
or to buy some takeaway,
you're essentially stumped.
Yeah.
Now you can't. You're done.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
You have to go somewhere.
There isn't a plan. There isn't a plan B sometimes, and the plan B, if it's just cash, means that people don't often always carry cash.
Yeah.
I'd agree with Clayton. I think excluding potential for whatever reason is problematic. But personally, it's a different thing, isn't it? A lot of people do have access to pay without using cash.
Yeah.
But if you're excluding people who either have never bought it, some people don't still buy into banks, do they? Don't want to have a bank account and still want to use cash. Then that can be problematic. But I don't think it's going to be a long time before we see completely cashless. I
hope so. I hope it's a long time. I mean, I obviously don't get to vote on these, but I would have voted on the side of no, purely because I like to have the option of cash or card, dependent on what the situation is. And I also, again, to echo some of the comments that were made, if I'm going on a night or a day out, I'd like to have kind of a budget what I've set myself, and I'll generally have that in cash in my pocket. But if I know I've got to go somewhere that's card only, then I've got to adjust my budget to make sure I leave some money in my bank to cover what I'm going to pay.
Well, you definitely would have had to adjust your budget yesterday because I had your cash.
Well, it would appear that when I made it to McDonald's, I paid by card. According to my bank account this morning. Probably because I felt as though I wouldn't be able to actually order anything at the bar. I was better off just pushing buttons on the machine. Yeah.
Pretty much like we did in Manchester. We just ordered all the nuggets.
Yeah, essentially. So let's dive into some of the comments that we've got some, and there's going to be a lot of echo in here what we've already said.
Yeah, but I think it's worth shouting out a lot of these because people were very interested and engaged in this one.
Yeah. So first up, Sat at Satis. Many S's. Don't think it affects me as I was in small bar not long ago. Think it benefits the retailer more. Suppose it won't be long before we become a cashless society anyway, and that's what we're just saying. I think we're I still think we're a couple of generations away from that.
Yeah, it's going in the direction, but it's like I said, I've noticed it over the last 18 months. I'd carry cashless, but not deliberately. It just sort of happens because I know that I can pay with watch, phone, plastic, you know. Yeah. I mean, me, you and Clayton do beer orders together, but there's no cash being swapped between us.
No, it's just numbers being
pinged across.
Transferred.
You order some beers, I say I'll pay you, or Clayton does it, or I do it. We just switch money around.
Yeah.
But don't actually say, oh, I'll give you a tenner when I next see you. That doesn't happen.
So James at Gavin Barron, who was out with us yesterday, does make having a whip round difficult.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not at a stage yet where I'm going to give you my card for the evening. Oh,
no. To be quite honest, I don't mind holding kitty. I don't want to be holding 3 or 4 cards.
Yeah. makes you a security risk.
Yeah. Single person risk there.
Yeah.
And which one did I use at the last bar? So
yeah.
which one do I use
need
this
to just rotate it around. Gavin Hutsby at Sir Gawain 82. Personally, cash is king for me when it comes to a night out and eating out. Easier to split bills, manage budget, and reward good service.
The last bit's a good point. I have been caught out of restaurants not having the ability to tip in cash. That's a failing of mine.
Yeah. And I am not a fan of tipping on the machine because I'm not always convinced that goes to your server. That goes into a pot that is then split between all the servers. If I've had exceptional service, I want to reward that server that served me.
Yes, no, I agree. And I openly say it catches me out near enough all the time now because I don't have cash. Yeah. So therefore, you get to the bill, that's fine, pay the bill, and I've got anything to leave a tip. Start scrabbling around for some coins in the rucksack or something.
We've done that before now, haven't we?
Like, who's got some cash?
And you go, I've got the wrong trousers on. All the changes in my in my wear trousers, and so. Yeah.
That's getting inside information about your sartorial elegance there. Simon has 2 pairs of trousers.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
Is it you've been outed?
And so for Mark Johnson, nope. I expect the majority of establishments to offer cash and card in today's society, but excluding cash is to exclude large numbers of society. Disgusting. Also, I tip an awful lot, and getting rid of that option sucks big time. I think Mark's on the fence on this one.
I think he is, yeah. He's not going either way.
No, he hasn't really made it very clear, has he?
No.
And then John Rogers at JM Rogers 2000, an old fuddy-duddy in this respect, just like to go out with a certain amount to spend and not go beyond it because I ain't got it. Probably a generation thing. But it's very similar to what you said.
Yeah, and we had a lot of comments saying that sort of thing as well, that people just like to take an amount of cash out in the evening. Or sometimes that can be a bit of it can end your evening for you when you need your evening to end. So all my cash is gone, gonna have to go home now.
Is that your excuse yesterday? I haven't got any cash on me. I'm not going to go back to see Martin.
Not all of the iced modus that are drunk.
Richard Swindell's at Rich Swin. I said no, but I can see why it'd be less of a risk for the owners. Not having cash on site makes the business less of a target. However, we're not a cashless society yet, so why exclude potential revenue? And I think it's the exclusion thing. I think that's where a lot of people were coming on the no vote.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Richard's comment there, Mark's comment as well, got quite a lot of heated discussion going.
It did
as well, because there was that whole exclusion thing of some people can't get bank cards for whatever reason.
And like I said, and again, Simon made the point that you can, but some people just don't buy into it. They want cash. They're used to cash. Whatever their background is, for whatever reason, they trust having cash in their pocket. So points of brew at points_of_brew. See, these are the ones I shouldn't read out.
Yeah.
The underscores. Cynics will say that bars are going cashless so people spend more and don't keep track of their spending, but it's today's society. Contactless has made cash redundant in a lot of circumstances. Again, a valid point. And actually, it is easy to just use your card. You can spend more than you want to. Then you look at it the next day, and why have I used my card 3 times in one place kind of thing? It's like, because you thought it was okay, because there's no real money.
There is a convenience thing there as well. That I mean, I've been out on many occasions where I've maybe gone out and forgotten my wallet, and you've got your phone, and you're like, well, I can buy stuff on my phone, and it's a convenience thing more than I actually planned for this. Sort of thing.
Yeah, I think, and convenience is a big thing. Convenience does make you spend a bit more.
Yeah.
You know.
But also there's that, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes in a crowded bar you can't actually sometimes hear exactly how much your bar bill is.
Yeah.
So if you're just handing over a card, you're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes I've done that. Do I hand over a £5? Will that be enough? Or do I hand over a £10? Will that be enough? And sometimes you've done that, haven't you? You hand over a £10, and if you're lucky, you get some change.
Sometimes you hold up the note and look at them and go, and they're like,
no. Are you having a laugh? You can't pay with one of those red ones in here. Needs to be a bit bluer.
From Boken Bailey at Boken Bailey, they said, are we fans of no, understand the business case, but no, both please? And they then did back that up with a blog post around that embedded our poll into it as well. So that might have definitely contributed to a number of votes, I've got to think, but it was interesting to see their views.
So the award-winning podcast inspired some award-winning writers.
Exactly, there you go. It's like beer writing will eat itself, or beer communicating will eat itself.
And then we got something from Steve at Beer Nouveau, at Beer Nouveau. We take card as well as cash. We're not anti-card. About half our transactions now are card, but half are still cash. And while people want to pay by cash, we'll keep taking it.
Makes sense.
That's probably a fairly sensible way of looking at it, isn't it? I mean,
it's that whole either-or thing, isn't it? It's give people the option, because that way you're not excluding anybody.
Yes. It's the, it's probably just the excluding bit, which is probably the I think the problem for most people, rather than personal preferences almost. Paul at UNRCD, who also joined us, both for the pre-Crimbo Crawl and the Crimbo Crawl with his missus.
Great to see.
I voted no because I like the option of both. Easier to work out how much you have spent on a night out if you use cash. It wouldn't put me off a place if it was cashless though. So again, ticks a few boxes there.
Yeah. And like I say, I think it's a lot of people were saying a lot of similar things with this poll, and we could have spent hours going through all of the comments and talking about those for this one, because it did spark a lot of debate on that, and as always, we're massively grateful for everybody that got involved in this the discussion. Yeah,
I mean, you even got a comment from a new bar opening in Southend.
I know. Essex. Yeah, I put that on there because I had no idea there was a new bar opening in Southend.
Well, I only knew it because they had an advert in the programme at the Rockford Beer Festival.
Oh, okay.
When I went there last week. So that's from Craftwork, and they're saying that their new bar in Southend is going to be card only. They're going straight in card only, so no, they're not opening with cash, straight into card only.
I suppose time will tell. A new bar opening. A new opening going card only, rather than the other example of the small bar, which have previously been both, and have now gone to card only. This is a new venture. Yeah,
straight away card only. So they've obviously taken, that's a business decision, I presume. And I think one of the other points that I think was quite interesting here was when people were saying there's definitely a big benefit for the retailer.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
So they're thinking about it from their point of view, which is fair enough, it's their business. But it'd be interesting, might be worth watching that to see if we get some feedback from them.
I think so, and as always, there's you can link through to the poll in the show notes, and that will show you all the comments if you want to read through those. If you've still got a view on this one, we're always happy to take more comments. Use the hashtag opinions and get involved in the discussion.
Yeah, no, I loved reading all the discussions and the ones which went off on the side as well. Yeah. So it definitely sparked people's interest, but I had no idea it would spark people's interest in quite that way.
It was unbelievable. Just watching the votes, just go, just like through the roof.
How did it go, Steve? I didn't know we had voting sound effects as well.
I do. I sit there at home on Sunday night and go, just looking at the phone. Makes it much more interesting.
So this is turning out to have a lot of revelations on this podcast. Simon's trousers and what you do on a Sunday night.
So we're all
unconnected, by the way.
we're all ploughing through these beers.
I'm loving this session IPA.
Yeah, this session IPA is just so drinkable. How's the Claudia over there?
It's great. It's just a new dimension on a wheat beer really by making it more hopped. It's kind of that, just a modern twist on a wheat beer. Really loving it.
I don't know about you, Clayton, but this fruit IPA is going down really well.
It's hitting the spot.
Well, Clayton's got a pint. You're well over halfway through it, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's usually a decent enough sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not nursing this one at all.
No, not at all. Just smashing out, mate. Smashing out.
Powering through.
Yeah. So I think we're pretty much there, aren't we?
I think we're there.
Or have you got? Was there one question in particular that you wanted to cover off today? Is that? Did you want to do the Bond questions?
Oh yeah, I did an answer to that because
we weren't going to do Bitter and English today because we had a lot of other content to cover, but we did have one question in particular that was based on our last show, which was the Spy Who Loved Me Opinions on Film show. So,
yes.
Martin,
was it Rob who asked the question?
2 hours
was it Rob at Rob's Beer? 2 hours, as if it was 2 hours 5. The question asked, I think it was Rob at Rob's Beer Odyssey, he said if it was basically Bond as a beer. So effectively almost matching a Bond and a beer. So, in order.
Which I couldn't do, so I left this one to you.
So, Sean Connery, I've gone for a Brewdog Albino Squid Assassin. Scottish and the assassin bit.
Okay, nice.
George Lazenby, I went for Pirate Life Stout. Australian beer, Lazenby was Australian. Perfect winter beer, the Stout, and On Her Majesty's Secret Service was set high up in the mountain in wintertime as well.
He's actually put some thought into this, hasn't he?
I had a great time doing this on the track.
Mate, be glad you were in the hotel when he started talking Doctor Who with Terry.
Okay.
Back to Bond.
Yeah, Roger Moore, Gun Brewery Scaramanga.
Obvious one.
That was the first one. That was easy.
Yeah.
Man with the Golden Gun, Scaramanga, Pale. It was all there. Timothy Dalton. That proved hard for me. Timothy Dalton one.
West Bond.
No, I would say no. Don't get me started. Tiny Rebel Full Nelson. I've gone for because he was a new type of Bond for a new world at the time, probably a bit ahead of his time actually. Timothy Dalton, New World hops. Also, Timothy Dalton, great for geeks. Doctor Who, Bond, and Flash Gordon.
Gordon's alive.
Thank you very much. See, I knew we could fit that in if we tried. And so Piers Brosnan, I've gone for Galway Bay Full Sail, the Irish connection with the Galway Bay, and the Full Sail because of that awful CGI in his last film, Die Another Day, when he's
on that
underwater and it looks awful. That bit that was definitely a jump the shark moment for Bond and his Bond. And Daniel Craig have gone for Beavertown Neck Oil because he isn't one to savour a beer, and Heineken, he did drink Heineken in his first 2 films as well. Although, I did give myself a little note here. In Daniel Craig's case, a can would be really impractical, so he wouldn't be able to use the can as a weapon.
I'm sure he could find a way.
Yeah,
he's Bond after all.
Not as easy as a bottle, though.
I'm sure Q would find a way.
So that was the question I answered. I had a great time putting that together.
Fantastic. You put a lot of thought into that. Thanks to Rob for that question, and we will bring back the full questions and Bitter and Lingonist in the next show. It's just obviously that this was more about what we've been doing over the last couple of days.
Yes.
So just before we wrap up, I want to say a few thank yous to everyone. So firstly, thanks to Simon Vicky for joining us.
Having us.
For this. Thanks Clayton for inputting your about 10 words this year, which is more than normal. Thanks massively to everyone that came along on the Crimbo Crawl with us yesterday. Thanks to Lost and Grounded for hosting us. Thanks to Moor for hosting us. Thanks to Wild for doing something. And thanks to all the other bars that put up with 30 odd people turning up on the first weekend in December.
Yeah, I can only echo that. Thanks to everyone. And we are really in a brewery. We're not in a coffee house. In case anyone's wondering.
Yeah, we are actually now in an open tap room, which is why there's been.
But the only thing you can hear is coffee. Yeah. Normally there's other things going on, but
everyone's not much beer being ordered.
No, it's all about coffee. So
at this table,
everyone drank Stout yesterday, obviously. But no, thanks to everyone. We've only got one more show, Steve.
This year, which is going to be the review of 2018. So we're going to take a look back at the year. We're going to have a look at things like favourite beers, favourite beer adventures, what we've been up to, what we've enjoyed during the year. We're going to do kind of a condensed golden pints within that as well, focusing on a few.
Listeners hope it's condensed.
No, it will be condensed. Focusing on a few specific categories within that, and we're also going to be drinking some beers along a theme of: are you buying beers because you want to taste them and what they taste like, or are you buying some beers to age them and hope their value increases because you age them? So as part of that, we are going to be enjoying quite a range of beers.
So it's going to be a proper end of season review then?
Yeah, we're doing the 4 Fuller's and Marble collaborations that were released last year.
The prize
Gals Prize Old Ales, each in a different barrel age.
Yep.
Lowest one is about 10.5%.
Yeah. What could go wrong on a Monday night?
Yeah, so we're doing those 4, and then if that wasn't enough, we're doing the annual,
the traditional
drinking last year's Fuller's Vintage to see how it's moved on.
Brilliant.
I think that's it. So, cheers everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Tis the season.